Okay, folks, in this video, I'm going to show you why the date of the Queen's birthday, April 21st, is so important to this puzzle. But before I start the video, I want to make sure that you've watched the last 5 or 6 of my videos. That way you can grasp the magnitude of what I've shown. Anyway, let's move on. So, Elvis, he was the first famous person to have anything to do with the Seattle Space Needle. He made a movie called It Happened at the World's Fair as soon as it opened back in the early 60s. And look what it says up here. Elvis swinging higher than the Space Needle. Look at that. And look, Elvis's name is knocking down the Space Needle. I told you there's going to be a spectacular event in Seattle on June 11th. And like I've shown 100 times over the years, Elvis was the first famous person to take an injection on live television. Okay? He took a polio injection on live television. When did he do it? He did it on October 28, 1956. That was Bill Gates' first birthday, and Bill Gates was born in Seattle. Okay? There's a Seattle connection to this also. I mean, with his taking the injection. The needle, get it? The Space Needle. Anyway, back to why the Queen's birthday is so important. I'm going to show you in a moment. So the Seattle Space Needle, it opened on April 21st, 1962. Okay, and I'm going to show you why this is so important. Okay, the Space Needle opened on April 21st, 1962. So that's the day that Queen Elizabeth, the one who just recently died, she was born April 21st, 1926. Okay, so she's born on the same day as the Space Needle opened. But she was born in 62. The Space Needle, she was born in 26. The Space Needle opened in 62. Same numbers, but backwards. Anyway, April 21st is what's important. Why did the Space Needle have to open on April 21st? Why? And by the way, I was the first one to do this type of numerology. I started this like 5 years ago. So if somebody did it before that, I don't know, but I never saw anyone do it. But anyway, so I showed this years ago, like I said, that April 21st, the day the Space Needle opened, is the backwards date of 9/11, right? Like I said, I've shown this 100 times before. This is not the new info. So for April 21st, is the 111th day of the year, and September 11th is its, opposite date, okay, because it leaves 254 days in the year. 111 days plus 254 equals 365, which makes 1 year. Okay, that's how you figure this out. That's why 9/11 is April 21st's backwards date, the day the Space Needle opened. So that in itself was a significant clue to why April 21st is so important. But look, here's the real reason. So April 21st is the 111th day of the year, and I told you the backwards is the 254, the 9/11. But anyway, April 21st is the 111th day of the year, and on leap year, it's the 112th day. So 111th, 112th. And by the way, like I said earlier, if you have not watched the last few videos, the last 5 or 6 videos that I've done, you're not going to grasp the magnitude of what I'm showing. Anyway, April 21st is the 111th day of the year, and on leap year, it's the 112th. 111, 112 equals 223. Do you see that? 223, which I told you next year is when the Seattle event happens on June 11th, 2023, the 223. Now, what is the chance of this, folks? Like I said, you're not going to grasp the magnitude unless you've seen my, latest videos. And by the way, if you know my other prediction, I told you I have 2 predictions. June 11th, Seattle gets struck, and August 4th, Trump gets a head wound, right? In Ohio. And look, 4 times 21 equals 84. And I told you Trump gets his head wound on 8/4/2023. And here's another great coincidence. And I told you that April 21st is the backwards date of September 11th. You remember earlier I showed it to you? So if you went from September 11th, the day the Twin Towers came down, because I told you Elvis's identical twin died at birth. Okay, it's all about Elvis. So September 11th, if you go to the next time April 21st comes around, it's 223 days. Look at that. You see that? Because I told you the next 9/11 is going to be on 6/11 in 2023. And like I showed you in the other video, 223 days. I told you the devil is in the details. Look at the percentage. 61.10%. 61.10%. It's 611 with a crown. I told you the zero can be zero or a crown. Zero to hero, get it? 611 right there in your face. That's how much percentage is 223 days. The amount of days, you see? Do you not get it? 223, 2023, 611 with a crown. 611, 2023. Next year, the Seattle gets struck. So the coincidences are going to be piling up. Watch. So the word Seattle, if you were to add up the letters, like S is the 19th letter of the alphabet and so on, if you were to add it up, it adds up to 82, okay? Seattle. If you just stop the video and add it up, you'll see that it adds up to 82. And I'll show you why I'm showing you the number 82. See, now I have Elvis with a crown. I told you the letter O can be a crown or a zero. Elvis with a crown, because that's what he's going to get. That equals 82. Just add it up and you'll see that it equals 82. Anyway, back to the Seattle. Seattle equals 82, and Elvis with a crown equaled 82, right? And why am I showing you this 82? It just so happens that the 82nd prime number is 421. 421 is the 82nd prime number. Which again goes back to the Queen's birthday, 421, and everything else I showed you earlier. And the Space Needle opening, 421. And these last two connections that I'm going to show you is what breaks the camel's back when it comes to shocking information. Okay, let's look at these last two equations. Okay, so you know Seattle is in the state of Washington, and I told you that Washington is the 42nd state where Seattle is, okay? And Seattle's in King County. Elvis was known as the king, and he died at the age of 42. See, there's all these 42 connections, but forget about that. So Washington died, okay? This is about death, because I told you this spectacular event in Seattle, like I said, could be the biggest event we've ever seen in the history, all right? Look. So it's about death. So he dies on December 14th, 1799. So pay attention closely. So from the day Washington died, December 14th, 1799, to the day that the Space Needle opened on April 21st, 1962, is 162 years, 4 months, 8 days. So look at these numbers, 162, 4-8. First of all, it's got the 8-4 backwards, because I told you Trump's going to get his head wound on 8-4, and August 4th is the 216th day of the year. But forget about that. So it's 162 years, 4 months, 8 days. And the 162 is June 11th. The 162nd day of the year is June 11th, okay? And the backwards is 203 days remaining. So there's your 23 with a crown. The year 23, you get the 162 for June 11th. So June 11th, year 23. Get it? All right. But anyway, it's the 162nd day of the year is June 11th. And like I just showed you, it's 162 years from the death of Washington to the day the Space Needle opened. There's your June 11th for 162, right? For the years. And if you combine the 4 and the 8, 4-8, the 48th prime number is 223. Do you see what I'm showing you now? See how perfect that is? So from Washington's death date to the day that the Space Needle opened is the 162 years, which is 611, the 162nd day of the year. You combine the 4 and the 8, the 48. 48th prime number is 223. So it's 611, 2023. Get it? You can't get any more perfect than that, man. And it just so happens that, you know, we're on the Gregorian calendar, and on the Gregorian calendar, April 21st, the Queen's birthday and the day the Space Needle opened, is actually April 8th on the old Julian calendar, the one we used to be on. So there you go. There's another 4-8 connection to the 421. 48th is the 223 prime, get it? And it's connected to April 21st again. Anyway, so I showed you the connection from Washington's death to the day the Space Needle opened and how incredible the equation is. Now we're going to go from the day the Space Needle opened to the day that Seattle's going to be struck on June 11th, 2023. So now look at this. So from the day the Space Needle opened to the day that Seattle's going to get struck on June 11th, 2023. Okay, I did not include that day, but up to this day, because if I include that day, look at it would be 6/11/22. Okay, but you have the 6/11 here for the date. You have the 223 right there, but here's where it's really important. It's the devil is in the details, folks. Where is it? There it is. Look. The percentage of days from that date to that date is 611, 8.08. So you have the 611 with the 88 connection. 611, 88. Why is that important? And that's 2023. Elvis would have been 88 years old if he died, because the anagram for Elvis is the word lives. So like long live the king type of thing, you understand? Elvis lives. But anyway, 2023, he's 88 years old, Elvis. And that's why this equation is important. So you have the 611 connection, you have the 88, 88, okay? For the amount of days in between the Space Needle opening and the day that Seattle gets struck. Anyway, folks, I could have shown you another hour's worth of info about the connections between the Queen and Elvis and everything, but I'm just going to try to make it as short as possible. Anyway, folks, make sure you watch the video again, all right, if you didn't understand it. Anyway, end of video.